Hi everyone, welcome back to Python Code Nemesis. In today's video, we'll be learning about frontend and backend for a beginner. So let's say you have just joined college and you see a bunch of clubs here and there, and people are talking about a lot of topics, learning new languages, and you want to know how you can build something. Like, how do you build all of these web applications from scratch that everyone is doing? And this is what the video is about. It's for people who are just getting started. Regardless of what whatever language you're using for coding or what framework you choose to use for both your front end and your back end, the main core concepts of how all of this works out together and how you can test both of these frameworks together is kind of the same. So for front end, I'll be using React, and for backend, I'll be using Python and Flask. You can also use Node for the backend as well. Let's get started. Yeah. So what is front-end development? Front-end development refers to creating the user interface and experience that users interact with directly on a website or a web application. So when you open, like you see this website and you see um, different bars, there's this scroll bar and there's like a bunch of components on a page. This is what front-end development is. You develop the UI, the user interface that a user will interact with. So this includes everything a user sees and interacts with, from buttons and forms, images and animations. Front-end developers build these visual elements using programming languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and frameworks. Introducing React. React is a popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It allows developers to create reusable UI components that can be combined to form complex web applications. React uses a virtual DOM to efficiently update only the parts of the page that have changed, leading to better performance and a smoother user experience. That was about the front end. Now, the front end, if it wants to show some data, it will make a call to the backend for that data. That might lead to a database call in the backend itself. But whatever data you see in the front end doesn't have anything. It's not going to store, like it's first going to make a call to the backend, which will give the front end its data, and then it's going to be showing it in a certain way that you have developed the front end to show. But for that, it will have to make an API request. Coming to backend development involves building the server side logic and the infrastructure that powers a web application. It handles tasks such as storing and retrieving data, user authentication, and handling business logic. So, user authentication, as in, let's say you are a user. What is the kind of data that you are allowed to see? If you are an admin user, the scope of your visibility will be a lot more. If let's say there's distinctions, so if you're like a unpaid user, the features, the pages that you'll be able to see on that website will be limited. If you are a premium subscriber, then you're going to be able to see a lot more stuff. So to ensure that you are the person that you are saying that you are, there is some kind of authentication and authorization in place which checks if you are eligible to open that website, if you are authorized to open that site or not, or that web page in that website. Otherwise, it will show you a subscribe to premium page. So for that, you need user authentication, which the backend will handle. And there's also handling business logic. So what happens if someone makes a request with a certain instruction? How is that gonna, let's say there's an instruction that there is a new record in a table. Let's say there's like a grocery shopping website and you add a new item to your cart. So when you add this item and you submit the form, then this triggers a call to the backend API, which takes in this information, stores it somewhere in the database, and now the front end, your cart, will be showing the updated information. So that is what this will handle. Backend developers work with databases, servers, and programming languages to ensure the front end has the necessary data and functionality. Python and Flask. Python is a versatile programming language that's widely used in web development. Flask is a micro web framework for Python, providing the essentials for building web applications without unnecessary overhead. Flask allows you to define routes, URLs corresponding to different parts of your application and specify how they should respond. Now let's get hands-on experience by creating a simple web application that integrates front-end and back-end components. So I would suggest you to follow along. This is basically my boilerplate code that I use for every single application that I need to build really fast. This is not something that you would want or you would probably see in a production environment because that has structured code. There's different files and folders for your business logic, your database handling, and your API routes. But this is a very simple example, something that you can use probably in your hackathons. And I just have a simple slash like root, which calls this function hello, which returns hello from the Flask backend. And this is the code to run that app. So if you run python app.py on localhost 5000, which is the default port, your Flask application will be running. So what does that mean? So when you go to localhost 5000 with just a slash, if there was something after that, let's say chocolate, then localhost 5000 slash chocolate would take you to this URL. But because if it is just slash, then localhost 5000, if you go to that, you'll see this text here, hello from Flask backend. When you've already run your Python app. Next, once your backend is running, you want to set up the front end with React. So first you'll have to install Node.js, and it's great if you go to this website and follow the instructions to install and download it. In Windows, it's pretty easy. Similarly for Linux as well. Next, you'll have to create a new React app. So run this command, npx create React app. Front end is what I named the app. You can change the name to anything you want here. Next, navigate to the front end directory. So now that you created, once this finishes creating the React app, now you'll enter that directory by doing a cd front end to move into the newly created directory. Next, we'll open the app.js file in the source folder. And how would you do that? I'm saying all of this stuff, but it's very good to get an IDE like VS Code. I suggest VS Code for beginners. Um, for editing files, it's very easy to use. So it would be a great thing to download VS Code and open your folder in that. So you'll be able to see the whole repository structure. And inside app.js, replace it with this. So what this does is it will fetch the data that's in localhost 5000. So what was there? There is this string that we returned here, hello from Flask backend. So this is what it will get. And then it's gonna show this text. Where is it gonna show this text? Here. So there's this message, and when you set this message, it gets updated here. So that's what you can do. And to run the front end, now that you've finished writing the app, this is a very simple one. So this is basically the HTML part of it, where you just have this message displayed. To run this front end, you'll have to do an npm start, still within the front end directory, which is important. As a newbie, I actually sometimes forgot to get into the front end directory or wherever your app.js is. And this will trigger your default web browser to open, and you'll be able to see your front end running. So this was a very simple walkthrough. I would suggest doing this end to end and reaching out if there's any issues. There shouldn't be, because this is a very simple article. But then this is very important as a boilerplate code, because there's a lot of errors we face while doing setting up a whole project structure which is interacting with each other, right? There also has to be like cores, so you have to make sure that in your article, even though this one doesn't have cores, I will put a link to another video with handle cores. So if you're doing this locally and your UI is also running locally and your backend is also running locally, you need to enable cores on the server side. So that's the only change. Apart from that, everything should be good. Thanks for watching this video. If there's any questions, please reach out to me in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Python Code Nemesis. Have a great day.